Well, good morning and welcome to another Morning Jumpstart. We are in our series called Planted for Purpose. So if you've missed any of the videos that we've gone over in this series, I want to invite you to go check those out. But today I want to talk about when actions fall short and that feeling of failure that comes alongside it, really how to deal with that. So we're going to be talking about that today coming up next. So stay tuned. So we've all been here. You look back at your goals and where you began in this whole process, and you're realizing that you're not as far as you hoped that you'd be, or things just really aren't going according to plan. It's not as you expected. So when these actions fall short, what happens? Well, I think we can all agree that there's these feelings of discouragement, disappointment, and even failure that start to creep in at this point. And if you're not careful, they can begin to take control over your mindset and really the direction that you're heading. So it's like this inner battle that takes place, and these voices of the past, which really we know is the enemy, they start to creep in, they start to talk to you, and Satan really wants to make you think about it in a way where to make it about you, right? And so it's like you did this or you didn't do that. It's like a blame game, and it gets you pointing the finger at yourself and really causing you to get stuck in that place. So he knows that he can't close the door that God has opened for you. But what he can do is he can tell you a story. He can remind you of the past. He can bring up mistakes. And what his intentions are with that is really to get you to deter you from walking into that door, into that new opportunity, into that purposeful place that you are heading into and the direction that you are going. So the question really is at this point, is this a God door? I want you to be asking that because, yes, the enemy is going to come in and he's going to try to keep you from going through it. But you have to also be asking yourself at this point, is there a reason that these things aren't going according to plan? Is this an actual God thing? And you may want to go back and you may want to watch the video that I dropped called Give God Control, because we talk about that a little bit in that video. So let's be sure that you've watched that if you need to. And here's the thing that I want you to understand is that Satan is a liar. He is the father of all lies, and his schemes, they're not going to work against you. You're here because you're better than that. You're watching this video today not by accident, but because there's a purpose and plan for your life and you're going to walk it out. So remember that you've been given authority. You've been given the authority through the victory that was won on the cross through Jesus Christ, and you can walk in that victory. You can claim it for your future and speak the truth over the lies that are being whispered to you. My encouragement to you today is really that you do not give up. Don't give in to his antics. He does these things really to disrupt you. He does these things to get you off of your course and to cause you to hesitate in walking through the door. But just because you're at a place where you're a little delayed, it doesn't mean that your access has been denied. Delayed doesn't mean denied. And the days of living in your past mistakes, those days are over, and you can close the door on the past. It's really time for you to forgive yourself to give yourself a little bit of grace today and move forward. Give yourself permission that you can begin again. You can begin afresh. It's a new day full of new opportunities, and God has planned for every single thing. He hasn't missed a beat. So you can trust that you can move forward and begin again. And that word has really been speaking to my spirit a lot lately. Begin again. That is a word for me, even. So, God, He has a future for you, a hope for you, a hopeful place. And I want to invite you not to fear failure, because there's a lot of people that have failed. Successful people fail. But the thing is that they didn't quit, which reminds me of the verse in Proverbs, I believe it's 24, where it talks about how the wise man, the righteous man, he falls 7 times. But the thing is that he gets back up. He doesn't just stay there in that pit. He continues to rise up. And child of God, that is what you are called to do, is to rise up when your actions aren't going according to plan. When what you set out to do isn't exactly the way that you looked or that you thought it was going to look. So be persistent, be consistent, and keep showing up in a place of excellence. I'm not talking about perfection, because there is no one that is perfect. But what I am talking about is doing your best, because that's what God sees. He sees that you're showing up even when you don't feel like it. You're showing up even when things are hard, even when the mindset isn't there and you're struggling in a place. God sees that you're still being consistent, and you're showing up in the things that He's asked of you to do. And that's an awesome place to be. So He knows the end from the beginning, and He's planned and measured every single day of your life, of my life. And so we can be encouraged that He's going to give you the strength that you need for today. He's not going to leave you. He's right there with you. So stop putting your own limitations on God, because God is limitless. He has no limit to His greatness, and there's no limits on what He can help you with. So in these times of struggle, and in these times of wondering if you're on the right path and if the door is right, and when the whispers of the lies of the enemy are coming in, it's important to know that you were created for greatness, and you have a great, great God who has the best of intentions for your life, better than you can even think or you can even imagine. So be open-minded. Have an open heart to what God wants to do, and don't just focus on the way you believe that it's supposed to look, but be open to the fact that God is creative, and He may bring something different. It may look different. It may be packaged differently. But also be discerning, which is where it's so important that you have a right relationship with God, and that before you try to proceed within your own strength, you are in relationship deeply with His heart, and that you are aligned with His purposes for your life, where your yeses are His yeses, where you're saying yes to God. Yes, Lord, I know this is what you're asking. I know this is what you want. So just be confident in what you're doing for the Lord in this season. Because again, doing things in your own strength, they're just going to lead to a place of burnout. And I have personally been here. There's no life, there's no passion, there's no heart. You feel like you're just going through the motions. So I don't recommend that destination. I give it 0 stars. Do not stay there. Do not book a flight to get there. Be where God has you. Be where God wants you to be, because that is where you're going to find the true fulfillment that He has for you. So dead things don't produce fruit. Dead things aren't going to produce life. That's impossible. So make sure that you're plugged into the source. And who is your source? You know who it is. It's that kindergarten answer. It's Jesus. Jesus is the source. So if you're feeling drained, if you're feeling like there is this lack of renewal at this point, I want to invite you to consider that you may not be renewing your strength. You may not be renewing your mind. And there's only one way that you can do that. That is through a life surrendered to Jesus, where you are reading the word, you're equipping your life with the word, you are in prayer, getting to know him, getting to know his voice, and allowing him to lead you. So plug into that source. Make sure that you're being renewed by being plugged in. And come back to your first love. If you have wandered away, I want to invite you to come back. He is always waiting, and there is not a single thing that you could do that would separate you from the love of Christ. So you can always come back. You can be renewed. You can be refreshed. You can begin again. Let him lead you into that life of fulfillment that he has for you. And his purpose and plans for your life are good. I can promise you that. So remind yourself that his mercies are new today. They're new right now for you. And take ownership and proceed in obedience with the next step. So I want to leave you with that. Take ownership, number one. Number two, be obedient, which leads you to the third step, which is to take the next step. Well, that's what I had for you today. I hope this was encouraging and, as always, challenging, because I know these words challenge me first. So if this was helpful for you, I want to invite you to like the video, to comment, to let me know how things are going at this point in the process for you, and share this video with somebody that you believe would be blessed by it and would be helped, so that we can get this message out to more people. And if you're watching on YouTube, I also want to remind you to subscribe and to hit that bell notification. But that is what I had for you today, and we'll chat again in the next video. So we'll see you soon.